Yo, what is up, everybody? I am out here reporting from Toronto, Canada for a recap of yesterday's game against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I do have to preface by saying this. It is an irresponsible recap video because I didn't get the best vantage point of this game. The first half, I was in and out of subways, in and out of the shower, trying to get ready for dinner. The second half, I wasn't even able to watch the second half, but I did watch replays, and I did see a good bit of the game, so I do want to give kind of my thoughts on it all. Now, the Jaguars game did not start off very nice, man. Trevor Lawrence threw an interception. Upon looking at it, it was just a pretty bad underthrow. A little bit disappointing, but the Jaguars did wind up having 3 drives, and after a forced fumble on a punt, the Jaguars were able to go back there and looked really good the last drive. Being able to Trevor Lawrence on a 4th down touchdown was able to scan the field multiple times, find Christian Kirk open in the back of the end zone. Really good play by Anton Harrison that play as he was able to pick up a stunt to help protect Trevor Lawrence, and the Jaguars delivered a touchdown and eventually a 2-point conversion over to Zay Jones. So that was pretty exciting to see. Also, like I just mentioned, Anton Harrison, I thought had a really good game, a couple of pancakes. He had, like I said, that pickup on the stunt move. I mean, he's a first-round pick, so we want to see some good stuff out of him. And really, we saw good stuff out of pretty much all of our, a lot of our draft picks, I should say. Second-round pick, Brenton Strange had a couple catches. He had a really, really good block on Tank Bigsby's long 30-yard run. Like I mentioned, Tank Bigsby started off a little bit slow, but wound up having a pretty good game overall, really toward the end of it. A lot of times running backs need a little bit of time to, get going, and that's really what it looked like for Tank Bigsby. We move on to the 4th round with Yasir Abdullah. I think it was a 5th round pick actually, but Yasir Abdullah, man, there was one play where I'm like, okay, Yasir Abdullah's in, I'm gonna watch him the whole play, and he went over there and got a sack. And that's cool to see because, we're going to need some help out of him. And, really, I think a lot of our edge rushers, when Jordan Smith flashed a bit, Caleb Monchason did not. We need to see, because some of these guys are going to have to be relied on. And, a lot of us are wondering, why haven't we addressed pass rush? But guess what? The coaches have a lot more to evaluate, and the GM has a lot more to evaluate. They have a lot better idea of what they have and what's available out there than any of the fans know. So, we'll kind of see. We'll see kind of how all of that plays out. Wide receivers, some good wide receivers games. Jacob Harris from UCF snagged a pretty good deep ball, and I think I'm forgetting a couple of other guys, but some good. Williams had a good game too. Some good games overall out of some of those guys. And also we got to talk about quarterback Nathan Rourke. Now, he had one of the most incredible plays I've ever seen. I mean, when it comes to, this was in a top list of plays I've ever seen from a Jaguars quarterback. The way he was able to, that touchdown play, just avoid sacks, really show a strong lower body, show really good vision. That one play, when he finally made the touchdown throw, he was getting sacked and he somehow had time to set his feet and unleash a perfect touchdown ball. And, overall he had a pretty good game. Now, a lot of people are wondering, who is Nathan Rourke? He was the MVP of the Canadian League last year, won several Player of the Week awards. Also, he also played a little bit of wide receiver too. He's kind of been all over the place in that respect, and people were saying, hey, is he our new QB2? Look, it's going to be really, really tough to win the quarterback 2 position, and it's not even about who's the best quarterback. Quarterback 2 is mostly almost like another coach. He's a guy that Trevor Lawrence, after every time he gets on the field, the first guy he talks to is CJ Beathard. And, CJ Beathard is kind of similar to Brett Favre with Doug Peterson. I mean, Doug Peterson, there may have been better quarterbacks than Doug Peterson that came in there, but Doug Peterson, when it comes to what they want out of a backup quarterback, he's the ideal backup quarterback. And, who knows more about the game of football? CJ Beathard, a guy, who's played, at Iowa, a guy who has NFL starts, or a guy like Nathan Rourke, who, you know, comes over from the Canadian League, and you know, who's going to be able to provide more insight for Trevor Lawrence? I don't know. I know he's definitely a guy that the Jaguars can potentially stash on the, you know, practice squad. If anything does happen to Trevor Lawrence, you know, maybe there's room for him to, you know, come in there to get elevated to the regular roster and maybe get an opportunity to start for the Jaguars. You know, Minshew, when I look back at it, Minshew a few years ago was really lucky to be in a situation where the Jaguars didn't have a backup quarterback when they signed Nick Foles. I'm pretty sure it was just like Nick Foles, and you know, when the season started, literally it was just Foles and Minshew on the roster as quarterbacks before, you know, Foles got hurt. They brought in Josh Dobbs, and obviously Minshew got a bunch of starts. You know, Nathan Rourke doesn't have that same real opportunity that a guy like Minshew did, but I could see him getting elevated. And now he has some film out there. Look, he's going to get 2 more games, Nathan Rourke, to kind of really show NFL teams what he has to offer. I know after last year, many teams tried to maybe sign him, but he did ultimately decide to sign with the Jaguars. Now, when it comes to what to look for, look, the Jaguars have 2 more preseason games left. Next week's going to be an interesting one because, you know, they're playing the Detroit Lions in Detroit, and they're actually going to have some, you know, joint practices, which it'll be fun. And there's any team that's good to have joint practices against, it probably would be the Lions, just because, look, last year Lions gave the Jaguars a bigger ass whooping than any other team in the NFL. So, you know, maybe there's something to really be learned from, you know, that matchup. Maybe the Jaguars, it was just a terrible matchup. Of course, great day for the Lions, bad day for the Jaguars. Just wasn't really that good overall, but just another opportunity to put some tape out there. And, you know, 2 more preseason games left until we really get into the start of the season. So, and next game, game 2, is when starters should get, you know, expected to play a lot. So it's gonna be really exciting. But let me know what you guys think, guys. A lot of content is going to come. Going to be posting, you know, all kinds of content throughout August and just a regular season. So hope you guys will all be there with me. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. You know, I am out here in Toronto. It's a pretty cool city, and I made the joke on Twitter, man. I am out here in Toronto to celebrate our Canadian, you know, Nathan Rourke on having such an awesome day. And it is cool to see, look, everybody, you know, Patrick Mahomes mentioned him, even the Canadian, the place where he played, I think it was the BC Tigers or something like that, they played him on a Jumbotron. A lot of people excited for him. So, yeah, it was good for him. Good for the Jaguars to get the victory today against the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know if that matters to people, but we got it. But with all that said, enjoy your Sunday. Go Jags.